What is far deadlier than most people realize? Serious? As a nurse who has worked years with end-stage liver failure patients, it's a painful, dehumanizing, and slow way to go. Climate change, we need to take action. Fast water flowing across a road. The water only has to be 2 or 3 inches deep. If the velocity is sufficient, it can sweep you or your vehicle downstream. People have drowned doing this. In the same vein, hitting a moose with your car has a 13x higher chance to result in human death than hitting a deer. They are actually considered one of the deadliest animals in North America, since they can literally throw your car off the road with their antlers. You are much less likely to encounter one, but it's way more fatal if you do. This. A co-worker's son was 18 and got in a bar fight. Fell backwards, hit the pavement, and that was the end of him. Psychologically abusive relationships. People who haven't personally been through one really have no idea how bad it gets. How much it makes you seek out suicide, because anything would be better than this place you are stuck. And that is the real danger of it. People on the outside just say, if it's so bad, why don't you just leave? Or why do you keep going back? Because they don't understand how fucked your brain becomes. How you become chemically addicted, just like narcotic addiction. Most people addicted to heroin don't want to be. They try to stop. But the addiction is too strong. Psychologically abusive relationships are the same. I heard the sound and couldn't even see what happened until I saw a broken spring. I'm so glad I was nowhere near that when it broke. Scared the bejesus out of me. Apparently alcohol. I know 2 20-somethings that have died this year from alcoholic cirrhosis liver failure. One was my nephew. When I saw him in the hospital shortly before he died, he said, "I knew I drank a lot, but know how much damage I was doing. It's super tragic, and I'm crushed." I really hope the younger kids can take warning. In my 25+ years as an industrial mechanic, I have a list of body parts that I have had to extract from machinery. It's never a pleasant experience. Raw or especially undercooked kidney beans. 3 undercooked kidney beans can kill you. But if you tell somebody to go eat undercooked kidney beans, they will just think it might taste bad. Abusers. The very people around you. I'm absolutely petrified of horses. My biggest fear for sure. When I was young, I was at a dude ranch and rode a horse for my first time. It was supposed to follow in line like the rest of them, but mine didn't. It started running through the woods, jumping over logs at top speed. I was sliding off and holding onto its mane for dear life while sobbing hysterically. I had my camera and other things in my pockets, all gone. Eventually a worker at the ranch was able to stop the horse and get me down. I was shaking. Never again. Drop bears. Going into shock. It might have already been mentioned in this post, but most people think that shock is just a reaction to a situation, like, I was shocked that he was cheating on her. However, if someone is truly in shock, they can very easily and very quickly deteriorate. There are different types of shock too, all of which are deadly. Anaphylactic shock, caused by an allergic reaction to something. Cardiovascular shock, caused by heart issues. Septic shock, caused by an infection. Neurological shock, caused by an impact on the nervous system. Hypovolemic shock, caused by blood loss. Any one of these can be fatal. Heartbreak. Words. They add up over time. You'll never know how many lives you'll help preserve by choosing kind words over harmful ones. Diarrhea. Turns out 1.6 million people die from taking a shit. Bro, yeah, like cork deaths. So many people shake up bottles so fucking hard to the point where the deaths a year are higher than sharks. Being obese. Anything that is prone to hitting your funny bone. Garage door springs. Those things are under so much tension that they can take limbs off if they let go. I like to try to fix stuff around the house if I can, but garage doors and their springs are the one thing I will not fuck with. Weed killer and lawn sprays. Lots of the chemicals have been banned in European countries. If you see the yellow sign on the lawn, you really should stay off of it for at least a week after the initial application. And proper equipment to even spray the chemicals calls for rubber boots, fully clothed, rubber gloves, eye goggles, and a proper ventilation mask. It kills me to see the summer landscaping guys out there in tank tops and work shorts and boots. Many of them may face diseases later in life due to these chemicals. Knowledge from taking biology, chemistry, organic chemistry, toxicology, and endocrine disruption courses at college. Further knowledge: if there's a spray that's being advertised as safe to use indoors, it doesn't mean that there's no harmful chemicals in it that you're inhaling. It means that the chemicals per one use fall in a safe to ingest limit. You might be surprised how many things we are exposed to because they're deemed to be at safe levels. The only real safe level is 0. Stupidity. __ elaborate please. Hippos. Neglect, people neglecting their stuff like cars, bridges, house. But also neglecting their children, partners, family, diet, body and mind, and so on. Neglect to read the instruction manual of anything and everything from a car to medication, from toys to heavy machinery. Hands and feet kill an order of magnitude more Americans than all long guns combined. This includes every assault weapon. Social media. Yep, absolutely correct. I trained horses for 15 years and all it took was one day the horse got spooked while I was riding and I hit the ground hard. Cracked my helmet open, had a seizure and was unconscious until I arrived at the hospital in an ambulance. Ended up with an inoperable cyst on my brain from the head trauma that still 6 years later causes me extreme issues with balance and dizziness. Don't fuck around with horses. Stupidity. Water. Oceans, beaches, rip currents, rivers. The gap between your car and that before you. I am seeing so many drivers out there almost touching the car in front of them while driving. I truly think this behavior is far more worse than driving fast and should be controlled a lot more often. Being way overconfident in your driving skills. Yeah. Don't mix up long-acting and short-acting insulin either. That's a time. Getting a scratch from a cat. Driving. This. I grew up on a farm with horses, 20 plus years of experience, and can count easily 10 times when I could have died or been mutilated if something had gone slightly different, if the moody draft horse had bitten a few inches lower, if I'd been standing a foot to the left when the Dixie Thoroughbred cross slipped in the barn aisle, etc. I remember hearing a famous trainer say that 80% of people who get into horses get out within 5 years, and I'm convinced that a big part of that is because if you've been around horses for that long, your life has flashed before your eyes at least once. Being bit by a human being, our mouths are filthy. I met a man that almost died from being bit in a bar fight. Sodium and chlorine if taken separately, but sodium chloride, which is the common table salt, isn't. My first tapped away from home, older, stained tub. Mixed ammonia, bleach, and cleanser attempting to clean it, didn't rinse well. One breath, seeing 3 of everything, I bolted out onto the lawn, landing on my hands and knees coughing, with a splitting headache. Gave myself some time to recover, thought about what I did. Took a deep breath, bolted back into the bathroom, turned the cold water on full, turned shower on, flung the window open, bolted back outside again. It cleared out, and I didn't do that again. Found out that 2 other women had died doing the same thing that year in my state. The big bakery dough machine. If you are not careful scrapping the dough down while it's running, that machine can rip your arm off easily or squash your skull right away. I heard stories where an apprentice was found after coffee break kneeling there. Heights. Even off a short house can be deadly. Falling through the ice. Serious answer: ignorance. A poor diet will slowly kill you and reduce your quality of life later on down the road. It seems things that don't have an immediate impact on one's health are disregarded as not important in the moment. Mental illness: in many parts of the world it's more likely to commit suicide than to die from a car crash. It's also common to try to mask an attempt as a car crash. Lathe machines. There's a video straight out of Russia of a man getting caught in one, and within seconds his guts are all over the room.